If you're going to do reviews on guns used in the movies, you need to have not just the gun and the holster, but you got to have the poncho, the hat. I guess I need the bracer too, and the vest. Today we're going to take a look at making the bracer, or the arm cuff that Clint Eastwood wore in the Man with No Name movies. Alright, Arizona Ghostriders has become my favorite YouTube channel. I get up every Saturday morning and watch it, and in this latest video he shows the cuff that Clint Eastwood used in the Man with No Name series, or the bracer. So that inspired me to complete the outfit and get to making one. It's really a simple clamshell type piece, but it extends around the thumb there, so we got to get to making that thing. Alright, it's kind of hard to tell in the screenshots from the movie, but it looks to me like it comes up to, oh, probably right about there. So lengthwise, we're probably looking from the wrist, oh, let's say about, I'd say about 6 to 7 inches long. And then it goes around his hand there. Now it's kind of a clamshell shape, so if we take this, kind of fold it in half like that, and we'll end up cutting out a thumb strap to go around there and then around the arm like that, so it'll taper up this way. Now we got to get this fold to be right there. Go ahead and cut it out, and then we'll just tape that seam together there. Now the leather is going to be flexible, so I can cut that straight. All right, now it looks to me like in the movie, in the screenshots, I can see the seam. He has 2 seams in it. This seam runs just about up the top of the arm there, maybe slightly off to the right side somewhat. And it's got kind of a baseball stitch lacing on there. So we're gonna take and trim this up a little bit. Come right down here. And then we're going to have to get the other side to line up with it. Now this side will be an overlap here, and that'll get stitched. The other side will be a butt seam, and will get laced with a baseball style stitch. And then there are 2 grooves down the side of it there, just lines to decorate it. All right, I got pretty lucky right here. I had a scrap that is just big enough to where I've cut out another holster just to get around that. It could have probably been done in a straight piece. I'm going to do it like this just so it's a little easier to conform. Now this is veg tan leather, so it is kind of stiff, but we'll get it dyed up, and then we'll soak it with some probably some saddle soap, and that'll soften the leather up some. Let's get it traced out, and then we'll get it cut out. I think we can make that work. that sit right there and dry. All right, we'll let that soak in a little bit, and then we'll do our lacing on there with the baseball style stitch. Okay, so here is the finished bracer, and I'm not happy with it whatsoever. Is it the same style as the one that was used by Clint Eastwood in the Man with No Names trilogy? Sure, but is it right? Nah, it's far from it. Let me get this thing on here. There we go. It's too much bulk around the wrist here. It's too wide. It's not soft enough. And of course the lacing is wrong. And the thumb part is definitely wrong. There's too much room around the thumb there. It doesn't fit really well. I like the color. I don't like where I wet it there and it's discolored. But we're going to try a whole different technique to, I guess, mold this. And I've seen it on a few the places where they do cosplay costumes and stuff like that. What we're going to do is take an old t-shirt and we're going to take the sleeve of it and make a mold or a pattern that fits closely around the arm, and wrap it with tape and get everything tight on the wrist, because the one in the movie is a lot slimmer fit on the wrist, and it comes up on the thumb more than it does the one I made. So let's get this thing cut up a little bit and then taped up, and then we'll work from there. All right, I've got a hole cut in there for my thumb. I think I might cut a little spot right here just to keep the fabric from moving around on my hand, and get 2 fingers through there, I guess. There we go. Now the sleeve or the cuff is only going to come up to, I did it too long on the other one, so that's way too far. I want to keep it right there where my arm starts to flare out, I guess. The one on Clint's arm in the movie is not very long, not as long as I thought it was with this one. So I'm going to take some masking tape and wrap this up on my arm. All right, there should be enough tape there. Definitely a lot easier way to make a pattern than with the paper. All right, here's a piece of 2 to 3 ounce, very thin, a lot thinner than the other stuff. And hopefully it'll be a lot more flexible. It'll definitely be easier to soften up. And we're going to get this thing traced out and cut out and then get it put together. There it is. All right, there it is. The bracer is laced up with the baseball stitch. I pulled these tails back through there. Luckily with a lacing tool, I was able to reach up through there and grab it and pull it back. It is really a pain to get on. There must have done something a little different in the movie, because for this thing to fit this tight around my wrist here and to be able to get my hand in there, I pretty much had to unlace all of it to get it in there. Just about. I had the lacing through every hole. It's just so wide to get it on there. But this is a little closer around the thumb than this one is, definitely. And I think once it's dyed up and everything, it'll look a little more like the one used in the movie, maybe. We'll get it all dyed up, and then we'll get some saddle soap on it and stuff. It's definitely a lot softer. You can see wrinkles in the one in the movie, like around his wrist there where it moves around. I could have probably used chrome tanned leather. It would have probably come out a little bit better. It definitely would have been a lot softer, but and probably stretched a little bit to allow it to get on. Now I do see there's a scene in the movie where he puts it on and puts his hand in there, and you can see the lacing is pretty loosened up there. But he does not wear this all the time in the movie. There's only a few times where you see him wearing it, and if his was anything, putting on his was anything like putting this one on, I understand why. Maybe they had a little something different. Some snaps or something. They didn't have Velcro back then, I don't believe, in the 60s. But definitely a pain to get on there. But we're going to get it dyed up anyways and softened up and see how it does. Alright, we are definitely going to go ahead and dip dye this, because it works a lot better, especially since I've already got it sewn together and everything. Fits like a glove. Very tight glove. Alright, now the only thing left to do is to snug it up a little bit at a time so I get it fairly even, I guess. Alright, that's kind of it. Definitely more flexible than the other one. Definitely a little better fit, and probably looks a little more like the movie one anyways. I'll take these ends here and run them down through there. Like I said, I don't know what they did with the excess lacing in the movie, but for right there, well, it can't be seen. I guess I could wrap it around and tuck it in or something, but I don't really want to cut those off because I kind of need that to get my hand in there. I need that much excess. But anyways, there it is. There's two ways to make a bracer, kind of like the one that was used in the Man with No Name movies, the trilogy, Fistful of Dollars and for a few dollars more. I don't know that it really enhances your grip using a firearm, but it looked cool in the movie, and that's what they did. This is pretty close, I guess, closer than this one to what they used in the movie, and it would be a lot easier if I didn't do it with the thumb piece on there, because that increases the difficulty considerably. If you just stop it, like in most Western times when they had the cuffs on, the gauntlet style cuff, they just went to the wrist and then come up probably a little farther on the forearm. But whether you're doing a reproduction arm bracer for, you know, a movie reproduction, or if you're just doing it for cosplay or steampunk or whatever, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do it with the paper pattern, or you can do it with the t-shirt and masking tape or duct tape or whatever you want, and probably get it to fit your arm a little bit better. All right, guys, there it is. That is my take, or my version of the wrist cuff that Clint Eastwood used in the No Name, Man with No Name trilogy. Not exactly like it was in the movie, but pretty close anyways. Close enough for government work, I guess. So far, I've made the holster, I've made the wrist brace, and the next thing I'm going to do is the vest that he wore in that movie, which is sheepskin that you know, was turned inside out, the flesh side out, the wool side in. That one's going to be a little more difficult, even though it is not finely tailored piece of garment. It has a specific look to it, so I'm going to try to recreate that using actual sheepskin. But if you want to try making one, go for it. It's not that difficult. It can be a little expensive, but there's a couple different ways to try it, and try either one of the two versions I did in there and see how it works for you. Maybe you can do a lot better job than I did at recreating the movie one, but I'm pretty happy with it. I like the way it looks. It fits pretty decent, and it does allow me to grip the gun. It probably doesn't enhance the grip at all, but I can still grip the gun. Anyways, thanks for watching, and get out and try a little bit of leather work yourself. It's pretty fun.